Hello everyone, Tensei here, and today we're having another Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel deck profile, and I'm going to showcase Black Stego deck. So, I played this deck for the European Extravaganza this past weekend, and I got first place in a winner mat, so I thought I'd showcase it off and show how the format is going right now. So of course, let's go for the main deck first. Our skill here is of course Twisted Personality, so we're having a lot of burn cards here, and we think we'll take a lot of damage with like Giant Rat and stuff. So this is basically the best skill you can use for the main deck to gain advantage, and yeah, that's pretty simple for most Giant Rat decks. So then for the engine we have 3 Rat, 3 Zombina, and 3 Haunted Shrine. So basically you want to draw Giant Rat early on, and that will give you a Zombina, and then the Haunted Shrine can revive Zombina again, and then Zombina brings back another rat for a nice stall engine that's kinda hard to break through, at least through battle. But yeah, it had its weaknesses, but it's a really good floater engine, and neither of these are once per turn, so you can just keep like bringing out stuff. And then yeah, Haunted Shrine gets to bring back Zombina twice, and we're going to also use Zombina's effect to bring out a lot of other stuff back from grave to get some nice options out of the deck. But yeah, this is basically what the deck revolves around. Haunted Shrine unfortunately can't bring out anything but the Zombina, but that's fine since Zombina can bring out any level 4 or lower thing. Then we have 3 things that we fetch out with Rat after we have the Zombina in circulation. Of course, the Black Stego, which we named the deck after. It's nothing too like extraordinary if you just like give it a quick glance, but you can summon it with Giant Rat because it has only 1200 attack, and then if it gets attacked it switches to defense, which it has 2000. So that means that most decks can't normal summon anything that gets over it. So just getting that extra stall option from the Giant Rat is really nice. And it also pairs well with a skill that we are siding. Exiled Force here, of course, just good removal. If you know your opponent only has 1 more attack left, you can bring this out with Giant Rat to out any problematic monster they might have. And it can also out stuff like Alive Justice Colossus that's unaffected by spells. Really useful. And then finally Swordsman is here for some extra damage, so it pairs well with either the Twisted Personality or the No More Mrs. Nice My skill in the side deck, since it gives your opponent more damage, and gain advantage through that and get closer to winning the game, especially if your opponent has anything big like Moth or Obelisk. Then for some non-earth tech cards, we have 2 New Doria and 1 Lava Golem. So New Doria, of course, a good thing to just set early on and make sure your opponent doesn't overwhelm you with advantage, since you can clear their monsters. And then Zombina keeps reviving it, so you just keep summoning it back over and over again, and your opponent is going to lose monsters, and you just like revive everything back. It could be a 3 since it's not an earth monster sadly, so you can't bring it out with Rat, but that's like fine. Lava Golem could also, I was thinking about maybe playing 2, but it can be a little breaky and I don't want to have too many in hand. It's just that sometimes I feel like it's taking a little long to draw it. Of course it does extra damage and can out problematic monsters like Unions, and 1000 damage is quite a lot with 4k. That's it for the monsters. For the spells we just have 3 Offerings to the Doomed. This is here to out annoying monsters like Chinzo, since Chinzo shuts down all the good traps we're playing, and especially the Haunted Shrine, and of course stuff like the XYZ Dragon Cannon that can just eat through the giant rats and our back row. So yeah, we need some form of removal to do more than passive stalling. For the traps, we have 3 Zone of the Spirit. It's an amazing trap, as I'm sure most people who play speed duels know. You gain an ability to do more damage, and it's an 1800 beat stick, so it can actually deal with a lot of opposing monsters without dying itself. And then finally 2 Floodgate trap holes. To stall out more, you can make your opponent's breaker go face down or a Colossus, and then they just get stuck there, since sometimes you need a little waiting time to get your engine going if you don't draw into the rat, or if you draw like Haunted Shrine before Zombina. So being able to just slow your opponent down a little is quite nice, and it can also stop them from gaining too much field advantage in something like magnets, since they can't just summon more than 2 monsters if they have something floodgated, or like attack with more than 2 monsters. Yeah, that's it for the main deck. Yeah. In the side deck, as I said earlier, we're siding 1 No More Mrs. Nice Mai, so this is mainly for magnets. An opponent using magnets can't actually out the black Stego usually if you side this in, since they'd have to attack the black Stego to bounce it with magnetic field, but No More Mrs. Nice Mai will actually activate before magnetic field, so you'll just destroy the magnetic field and they just can't out Stego unless they play some weird tech cards. Like some people play Skill Successor, but usually, yeah, you're making them at least use more resources in that case, which is always good. And then we have Reinforcement of the Army and Exiled Force. We're using these since we can't actually use offerings that much against spellproof armor, so you just want to side in something else, and the Reinforcement of the Army can also add Amazoness Swordswoman, so it's extra utility for that as well. Then 1 Book of Moon, it's just, yeah, it's kind of my 6th side deck card, but it can come in useful, slowing down unions, or just making your stuff go face down against a Moth player, so you just get to avoid the Cocoon skill longer. And then 2 Lost Winds, because, well, unions are pretty cheap and popular, and this is just a very good side deck card against them to make sure that they don't just resolve XYZ Dragon Cannon to destroy your whole field, making all of your stalling feel futile. Yeah, that's the side deck. And finally, well, I didn't play Waking the Dragon this time. I have played it before, but of course these are just here to like make your opponent think you might be playing Waking, and since you're playing a lot of back row, it's always good to make your opponent think you might have something that makes them scared of just blindly destroying everything with Night Beam or Breaker. Yeah, you can play Waking since an opponent might side in more back row removal, and like Breaker is pretty popular as well. But I just feel like people can read Waking a little too well sometimes, and especially if you like resolve it once, they become really wary of it. Yeah, these are just the best fusions to use, and there's no like negative thing related to using a fusion based an extra deck full of fusions. Yes. Yeah. I went 2-0 since it was only like 4-player Uno mats. It goes in goes really fast. I played against magnets, and yeah, that's where the sided skill comes in really useful. My opponent actually summoned Obelisk, but I managed to outstall him and make him deck out. And then I played against Inner Conflict, like good stuff with Breakers and Jinzo and stuff. Yeah, I managed to just out the Jinzo pretty easily, and yeah, he drew pretty badly as well, so it was over pretty fast. Yeah, I think that's it for the deck profile then. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Like and subscribe the video. Like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll try to upload more deck profiles, especially when we have these extravaganzas where I can actually play with more people. Yeah, thank you for watching and have a nice rest of the day.